poor Michelle is dealing with all that. And then we've got Jesse living his best life like a fucking weirdo. Invites Kristen and Luke over to his house for a tea party.
Listener discretion advised. Adult language and mature content.
Welcome back, everybody. 2 queens, 1 screen. I'm Jen.
I'm Keeley.
And we are back for the 5th. And thank fucking God. And all that is holy. I don't believe in God. That, but I would think if there was, I would thank him for episode 5 being the last of the tell-all for this season 2 of 90 Day Fiancé. I couldn't remember what it was called. 90 Day Fiancé Last Resort. This whole thing has been such a sham. I feel like you and I have talked about from the beginning, we just want to watch the therapist, watch what happened, and then give their insight. How much time do you think we got with those therapists?
Oh
in this
my
last
God.
Episode?
The therapist had what? 5-7 minutes with them?
Yeah.
And it was lovely because they just basically lambasted the shit out of each one of them. And it was pretty nice.
They're like, we're not your therapists anymore.
I know. It's pretty great.
So that was nice. And I would watch an hour of that.
Yeah.
I genuinely would have. And instead they were like, let's just talk about 3 of the couples, which is annoying. I did like that they wrapped some things up and we got a couple things. They had Matt in via Zoom call. Matt was talking about how he thinks that he has been running from marriage and running from children. So while this was not on purpose, he's excited to move forward and be a good dad. And even if he's not with Jasmine, he plans on supporting her and he's going to be there for her and this baby.
Yeah, that was good to hear.
Which I thought was really nice. And he also calls out Gino for how he speaks to Jasmine. And everyone jumps on Matt and is like, Matt, you don't get to tell Gino how he's supposed to talk to Jasmine. It's like, well, I think everyone agrees with Matt.
Yeah, because Gino treated her like trash and everybody didn't sleep with her.
I genuinely feel like everybody's the asshole in this situation.
Yeah.
But at least Jasmine's like, I made a lot of mistakes. I regret a lot of the decisions I made. I think that I should have been braver and not tried the open marriage and tried to stretch this out and make this last as long as it did. I should have said, this isn't going to work and gone back to Panama. Yeah. She's like, I regret not doing that. Yeah. However, here's where I'm at. This is what I'm going to do moving forward. I respect her for that. I know that I'm going to get screamed at in the comments, but I'm still Team Jasmine. Someone convinced me not to be Team Jasmine. I'm still Team Jasmine.
No, Jasmine has emotional maturity, which is what Gino does not have, because what is Gino? Gino is a man, and men tend to not be able to do that. Why? Because their ego gets in the way, ladies and gentlemen. It stands in front of them and says, no, sir, you're not going to be mature enough to say you were wrong or take responsibility for anything.
Just any part of it.
Yeah.
He was tricked into everything.
Yeah.
He was abused by Jasmine the whole time. There's no part of any of this where he goes, yeah, I wish I had done this differently. Other than I wish I hadn't gotten cornered into being forced into having an open marriage.
Yeah. But we did learn that he was getting cheeseburgers out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently.
They were like, so you were pimping your wife out for a cheeseburger? Because
Gross.
He would say, well, when you go hang out with Matt, Jasmine, just have him buy me a cheeseburger and bring that back to me when you're done. Whoa.
Well, was it In-N-Out or was it...
Fitting.
Yeah. Okay. Just saying.
Just that, I mean, that's a good one. My favorite part of all of this / the part that made me the maddest was just Rob Matt so much, and Matt hates him right back. It's just interesting how Rob is so desperate to defend his good friend Gino. There is no world outside of this little reality TV show that he and Gino were good friends.
Oh, no. I think Rob hates Jasmine.
And then also starts asking Matt if Matt even loves Jasmine.
Yeah.
And Matt's answer was, he kind of dodged it, but he was like, she's carrying my child. I'm always going to care about her. So yes, I love her for being the mother of my child, and we'll see where this goes. Whether we're together or we're not together, we'll see where it goes. Then they ask Jasmine, do you love him? And she was like, I don't know. I'm figuring it out. I don't know that I know what love is anymore. There's too much going on. There's too many hormones. I don't know what I feel, which I thought was very fair and honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
that was good.
That's a hard thing to not just go, yes, of course, or no, because Gino told me not to. She was just like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm at. Does she still love Gino? And she's like, I don't know, but I could never hate him. He's talking so much shit about me, but I think deep down he knows that I did love him, and I think he cared for me too. And I think you're right. I think it's his ego is so hurt by this that he can't see any of it.
Makes men more angry when the woman takes the high road and says, you know what, maybe I don't love you, but I do care for you. And the men just go off the handle and say all these bad things about the woman. And they can't just say, this relationship is over. I think we should just part ways. They can't just accept it and be, again, emotionally mature. And it just makes them so angry when a woman is just like, yeah, we're good. I'll just see you later. Okay.
So actually, that was my favorite part of the episode, which they already showed us basically in the next week on. Yeah. It was Reba, Heidi, and James the therapist come out. Yeah. Were you deeply relieved to not see the male apologist therapist come out?
I was.
They're like, we don't know what dumb outfit she's going to wear.
Oh, I hated her, Sarah.
Sarah.
Stand her.
There was no Sarah, but they were there for about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. Honest to God, that might even be pushing it. And they said, well, we don't want to have them go through everything. Sean, God damn it. Yeah. Just let them be there. And they go, well, we just want to ask you about 3 of the couples. Okay, great. And they start with Gino and Jasmine, and they said, were you surprised to see where this has ended up? And they were like, I mean, everyone's surprised that she's pregnant. No one knew that was going to happen. Yeah. But no one thought it was going to work. Rob and Gino go after Reba, and they're like, you really should have been more clear. And she's like, well, it's not my job to tell you what you shouldn't do. Jasmine jumps in and goes, she and I had a conversation where she told me, this is not a cakewalk. This is not going to solve your problems. This is not a Band-Aid for this. She's like, she didn't make this seem like it was going to fix things. She wasn't pushing me to try this. She didn't tell me polyamory is great and you're going to love it and it's going to save your marriage. She didn't set her up like that. I feel like we all watched the conversations that they had. I don't feel like at any point she was like, this is a great idea. I think she was like, this is why. She never said it directly, but she was like, this part is really hard. You need to have trust. You need to have good communication. You need to have good boundaries. You need to have blah, 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 which we know that Jasmine and Gino had none of. Yeah. So then when Gino was like, how could you do this to me? You ruined my marriage. He literally blamed Reba for his marriage falling apart. Actually, I think it was Florian.
Reba. Yeah, that was kind of surprising to see him upset like that. I wasn't expecting him to say that. That was
Florian. But they also talked with Stacey and Florian. Immediately, Florian's already pissed with them, and he's talking about how he doesn't believe in therapy. And I loved how direct Heidi was. She's like, we see this parent-child role. And he's like, the fuck? You said Stacey's my mom? You sicko? You're saying that Stacey's my mom? And she's like, no, that's not what I said. Mm-hmm. And then he's screaming at them. And James goes, may I please explain this to you?
Yeah.
He's like, I treat her like she is child. And he's like, okay. And that happens sometimes, right? That's okay. Yeah. And Florian flies off the handle, talking about how they're all fucked in the head. And but the best part I skipped over was when they start to explain the parent-child relationship. And he's like, the fuck? What are you saying? And Stacey's on the other side of the stage, of course, because they've got the boys on one side, the girls on the other. And Stacey's going, shh, be quiet. Shh, shh, being disrespectful.
Acting as his mom.
Acting as his mom.
Mm-hmm. Yes, literally doing what they just said.
It perfectly proved their point in 2 seconds. Then I think it was Reba that said, because he had stormed off and he was really angry. And they're like, oh my God, he's so disrespectful. My God, what's wrong with him? And she said, anger is a protective emotion, which is true because it's really easy for us. We have in our brains, we've got all of the neuro pathways and I think me and half of America is working to rewire those neural pathways. But for most of us, the fastest road in our brain is straight to anger. It's the first emotion that we can jump into. Plus, because it's a safe emotion to be in. If you're angry, you're on the offensive. You're not open and vulnerable, right? It's a protective emotion. And he's like, what anger are you talking about, Reba? As he's screaming and yelling at her and telling her that she's a piece of shit. And he's like, what anger? And then he storms off stage. He's with a producer. And he's like, what anger is she talking about? She's like, well, do you think you have anger issues? And he goes, I have no anger. Stop pissing me off. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Florian. I want to love Florian, but Florian is fucking up hard. He's just a mess. Stacey had also walked off stage at one point and was trying to calm down. She comes back and she's like, I just needed to change the energy. I can't deal with this. I don't know. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that he would do that. You don't deserve this. And Heidi turns to her and she's very direct. She's like, you need to stop trying to clean up his messes. You don't control him and you are not responsible for his choices when he's doing this. That's not your job to fix. And I think she needed to hear that more than anything else. I think someone needed to tell her, he's not your responsibility. And I'm hoping hearing that clicked something. Everyone's leaving at the end of the show. And I was like, oh, thank God it's over. And then they just show everybody leaving slowly, which was obnoxious. Weird. And you see everyone getting, packed up and bitching and moaning. Rob is like, I guess Sophie and I are really dud. It's like, yeah, man. He's like, I can't be here. She's not supportive of me. Like, no, you called her a hooker and you're mean. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
I did like that Reba stopped in and checked in with Jasmine, and she was very supportive of Jasmine.
Yeah.
And they had a nice little back and forth, and Jasmine was like, well, it did work really well for 2 weeks, the open marriage.
Because, Gino got his In-N-Out cheeseburgers for a few minutes.
From now on, all cheeseburgers are In-N-Out cheeseburgers.
Gross. Yeah.
Stacey, Benny, and Florian. Benny, who has no idea what's going on, is trying to mediate between the two of them. And Stacey's throwing her ring, and she's like, I don't even think I want to do this anymore. Does this mean anything to you? It was so melodramatic. She's like, maybe I need to be like Sophie and do my own thing. I think overall, I'm just so glad that this show is over.
Oh, God, yeah.
I don't see anything good for anyone. And did you catch the part where we didn't really see much of Julia and Brandon until the very end when they're exiting? The part where Brandon's talking about how he doesn't really support her bringing her parents in, and he's going to start really pushing for her to go to that second appointment because all that really matters to him is that they do at some point start that family. I heard that and I was just like, oh, it's doomed, right? That's how I felt hearing that.
Oh, I see. I didn't pick up on that, but yeah, you're probably right. I mean, that sounds...
Bringing a baby into a situation where everything is so unsettled and fractured is not going to make things better and easier.
No.
Not that any baby isn't a blessing. However, babies are blessings, but they are not there to fix things.
No, they're not Band-Aids. Yeah.
I can't think of a single situation where a baby made a marriage better.
Oh, God, no.
And stronger.
Nope. No.
Not that babies ruin marriages, but I think I caused my dad's first divorce.
No, stop it. Don't you say that again. Mike, she's just kidding. She's joking.
I can't take credit for it totally.
Don't say that again.
Yeah, so that's the end.
Yeah. I wish we would have had more with the therapist, that's all.
We didn't get enough with the therapist.
No.
I wish they would have gone over things with the therapist. That would have been a fun after show of the therapist watching it and not even having them have any interaction ever. But the moral of the story is I only want to talk about the Valley.
No! Which, I'm going to say, this episode last week was so dark. Almost gave me a tummy ache. This week was much better. I didn't feel sick to my stomach because Jax was gone, although we still had to put up with Jesse. I did feel lighter. It was very good. I was glad Jax wasn't there. So
I watched today, because we record on Wednesdays. The show comes out Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
I watched the show. Then I watched the after show.
Yes.
And then I watched Brittany and Luke on the Watch What Happens Live.
Me
Did you watch
too.
that? Okay. Look at us.
Yes.
So we watched the episode 3. Jax checks himself into the rehab.
Yeah.
And Jason took him and dropped him off. Jason is VIP in my mind right now.
Oh, Jason, yeah.
But then I get mad at him later and we'll talk about that. Mm-hmm. But in my mind, I was like, he's number one guy. They actually asked that in the Watch What Happens Live. There's like, Brittany, who's the number one guy in the group? And she's like, all the guys. First she said me. And then she said, all the guys. I don't know. Who do you think is number one guy in the group?
I don't think there is one, but I think you're right.
I was going to say, is it Zach?
Zach? What are you talking about? You hate Zach.
I'm starting to like him more.
I love him, but I don't think there is one.
Lego hair with his Monster Energy.
Oh my God, I love
mini
him so
fridge.
much. I don't know.
But yeah, so Jason comes back and checks in on Brittany.
Yeah.
And she's like, tell me everything. He does say a couple of things that I thought were really great. Janet then comes over and Michelle comes over just to really rally around her. It is nice because I think she did need that. And I do believe that Jason and Janet are real friends of theirs. Like, I think that they really are supporting this couple, especially Brittany. But he was saying every minute that Jax is in this facility and he's doing the work, he's being a good dad.
Yeah.
And every minute that he's in there wasting time and just going through the motions, he's being a terrible dad.
Yeah.
And Brittany goes, oh my God, did you tell him that? And he goes, no, I just thought of that right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Jason leaves, and there's a really sweet moment between Jason and Janet where Janet's like, I'm so proud to be your wife. I think that you were needed here. And he's like, I drove 30 minutes and I dropped him off. She's like, no, you got him there. And I 100% agree with Janet. I thought that was really stand up of him. And I do think that his calm level-headedness expedited that process and helped to make things not more insane than they could have been. And then he leaves to go back and probably work from home and be with the baby.
Yeah.
And it's just the 3 women, Janet, Michelle, and Brittany. Brittany says, I told him that if he doesn't follow through on this, I'm going to file for full custody. I'm going to get a restraining order and I'm filing for divorce. Michelle goes, I would file tomorrow and never look back.
Yep.
I 100% agree with Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle, I don't think she's fully even taking her own advice, as we kind of learned more.
We figured that out because in the after show, they would have been divorced in September if the mediator didn't screw it up. And now they're back to square one.
How is that a thing?
Yeah.
Also, Jesse is representing himself and then going through and going, you can't respond to me. I need your lawyer to respond to me on this, just so she gets charged every single fucking time.
And who has to refund for your wedding? He's asking her to pay him back half for their wedding. God damn, sir. Like, I can't. Anyway. He's the devil.
And she's also like, I didn't even want a big wedding.
Yep.
You and I both had small weddings.
Yeah. Courthouse wedding for me. Mm-hmm.
Which is extra cool because unlike anybody else in the world, Keeley, you got married by what, like 7 to 10 judges?
Yep, I did. There was 13 of them.
No, there's even more than I thought. So all of her bosses married her.
Yeah.
Mine was planned, but I got married in Vegas, and we got married out in the middle of the desert, and there were 10 people, including Matt and I. And there was a weird videographer that looked like Quentin Tarantino. And if you think that the audio on our podcast gets rough sometimes, you should hear my wedding video. And the answer is you can't. It's the whole. That's what it sounds like.
That's terrible. Don't ever do that again.
The next scene, poor Michelle is dealing with all that. And then we've got Jesse living his best life like a fucking weirdo. Invites Kristen and Luke over to his house for a tea party. Even Kristen's like, Isabella isn't here for this tea party. What is happening right now?
Oy.
I would have been there for that, though. Like, I love a good croissant. But yeah, he sets up a tea party for like, I think that if he was having maybe Nia and Danny over, I just don't think that Kristen and Luke are the audience for that in the same way.
I think Kristen and Luke would have been like a smoked salmon, bagel, cream cheese.
I think they would have liked Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh, that too.
But Jesse's not going to do a Krispy Kreme donut.
Oh, hell no. No.
I would be there for all of these things.
Yes.
I love a breakfast pastry, to be honest. But he has this tea party, and he starts talking to them about his conspiracy theories about Michelle's boyfriend, Aaron. Did you follow that?
I wrote it down, and they went over it in the after show too, but I was having a hard time following it. Yes.
She would go hiking in the summer to Runyon Canyon.
In full glam.
That's hard to say. That's like the rural juror. Runyon Canyon.
Yeah.
Ugh. But she'd go in full glam, which doesn't make sense. And
wouldn't wear her wedding ring. Yes. But I didn't understand his honey company for 2 years. What that had, like, Michelle gave him the money.
She had been buying. I think she'd been buying honey from him for 2 years.
Oh. And
his house is in Runyon Canyon.
Okay.
But where is he selling it? Who knows?
So that means probably they're sleeping together?
Store by their house. But they already knew each other, which is the thing he's not okay with.
No.
So she's like, well, we'd get coffee. I don't think that she was cheating on him with this guy. If she was, I also don't care. And we know that she did cheat on him with someone else. So Jesse says if the other guy isn't actually Aaron, then she cheated on me 2 times.
Yeah, I don't think she cheated with Aaron as well. And I agree with you. If she cheated with this other person, I don't care because Jesse was a horrible husband and a horrible father. We went over this last time. He needs to just get over it. And also he admitted last time that he is doing this on purpose. He's pushing her buttons on purpose and baiting her and making her crazy on purpose and saying these things about the OC on purpose just to get a rise out of her. So he needs to just chill out.
Which is very inconsistent because then he's like, hey, Kristen, who's now my best bud, will you help me? I want to plan a trip to Santa Barbara. and I need help planning the trip. It's going to be for the whole group. And I really think that she'll be upset if I don't invite her, so I will invite Aaron and Michelle as well. No one's doing that in real life.
No.
That doesn't exist in real life.
No.
This Santa Barbara trip is the most Real Housewives planned outing I've ever heard in my life, which is very inconsistent because then he's like, hey, Kristen, who's now my best bud, will you help me? I want to plan a trip to Santa Barbara and I need help planning the trip. It's going to be for the whole group. And I really think that she'll be upset if I don't invite her, so I will invite Aaron and Michelle as well. No one's doing that in real life.
No.
That doesn't exist in real life.
No.
This Santa Barbara trip is the most Real Housewives planned outing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that they couldn't figure... Jesse would not be the one planning the thing that Michelle comes to.
Yeah. Right.
This is dumb.
Yep.
And then also, speaking of adults going to places invited by people that they wouldn't actually be spending time with, I think my point was proven from last week that Janet's full of shit. Because while Jesse is having his tea party, Kristen gets a call from Janet. Janet invites Kristen to her Dave and Buster's birthday.
Right.
If you think that someone wished death upon your unborn child, you're not inviting them to your Dave and Buster's birthday.
Right. And not talking sweet as pie on the phone. It was really weird. And
so I'm officially on I think Janet was just trying to make herself a victim and get attention.
Oh, God, yeah. I hate Janet.
Do you want to know the worst part of this? I think she's the cast member I most resemble. Not physically, but like personality-wise. I think I'm probably the most like Janet.
I don't know about that.
Oh, who do you identify the most with?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, probably Nia. Stay at home a lot. I think you're more like Brittany. You're happy. Everybody wants to be around you. You're always, yeah.
Oh my God. Thank you. I think you're just like Nia because you're so pretty and you've got great boobs.
No, thanks, but no.
Ugh. Yeah, maybe it's just like, it's the self-conscious part of me where I'm like, oh no, am I like Janet?
No, God, no. Yuck.
Speaking of Nia then goes to an acupuncture appointment with Kristen. Have you ever gotten acupuncture?
I have not, but I really want to. Have you?
I think my stepsister's done it and swears by it. I know I have a friend in Virginia who like swears that it saved her from migraines. I think it's really interesting and I would totally do it.
Me too.
I don't understand it.
I don't either.
But I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
But Nia says that the fertility acupuncture is how she got pregnant. What is it? It's the same as like a jumbo shrimp. What's it called when the words don't actually go together?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Well, she was diagnosed with unexplained infertility, and I'd never heard of that before. That just sounds like
you have a diagnosis if it's unexplained?
A dumb doctor. That just sounds
If it's a diagnosis,
stupid.
how can it be unexplained?
Exactly. It's a oxymoron or something.
That's the word. Oxymoron.
Yeah.
It's a jumbo shrimp.
Yeah.
Diagnosis of unexplained infertility. And then she got pregnant after, she said, like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Of the acupuncture. It happened for her, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a very metaphysical hangout. Nia said that she envisioned her baby in heaven. And then she got pregnant and she knew that was coming to her.
Yeah.
And then it was really sad. Kristen said that she saw a psychic, and the psychic said that she envisioned a baby for Kristen. But Kristen had just recently experienced a miscarriage, and she's very concerned that is, like, what if that was her baby?
Oh.
And it's not going to happen for her. Which is fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Matt and I had a miscarriage, and I didn't realize how rough that loss would be. But the worst part about it is after that, there's the concept of the rainbow babies. So right after, when we started trying again, I got pregnant with twins. And I can't tell you how many people would say, oh, that's your baby that you lost. Now you got it back.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I had a lot of people say that to me.
No.
They're like, that's why you had the miscarriage, so you could have twins. And I was like,
man.
those things are not related. Thank you for linking them together.
Yuck.
But yeah, so it was a very, very spiritual kind of conversation all linked together. And I hope, we know. Skipping ahead, spoiler alert, she does get pregnant.
Yes.
And so we're just waiting for her to have her baby. So
yes.
She was really funny on Watch What Happens Live with Nia too. I like their friendship a lot.
It's very cute.
It's a very good friendship.
Yeah.
And while they're hanging out, their men, their partners, husband and boyfriend are hanging out, Luke and Daniel. Okay. Daniel is my other vote for number one guy in the group.
Yeah.
It's like Jason, at the beginning of the episode, Jason and Daniel, Jason's just edging him out, and then probably Zach right under that.
Yeah.
Luke is in the toilet for me, I think, forever, because he's so fucking boring.
Yeah, agreed.
I guess you have to be less if you're going to be with someone who's so much like Kristen.
Yeah. But
he is not made for reality TV. The only thing he has to add is gossip. And it's not even... He's not even good at it.
And I wonder if the producers told him to do that. You know what I mean? Because he's so boring.
They had to have.
Yeah.
So he's hanging out with Daniel and the babies. It comes up that he's going to be proposing. He wants to propose. And he's going to get some help from Daniel. And Daniel's the only person he's told. He hasn't even told his brother. So that goes to show how close they've gotten, which is really nice. And Daniel is like, oh, it felt really good to hear that. And it was just this very sweet moment between these men of just like really being vulnerable with each other and appreciating their friendship in this just very genuine, sincere way. And immediately then they start talking about boys chat.
Yeah, of course. Oh, Danny. Danny, my man. And even Brittany said on Watch What Happens Live, boys chat is not a secret. There is no mole. Each of the men are their own mole because they tell their girlfriends and they tell their wives and they show the phone. So, I mean, this whole mole thing with Jesse getting pissed off, that we'll get to it later, is ridiculous. But anyway. Well,
there's they said 20 to 30 guys at any given time in this group chat.
Yeah.
And that if you try and leave the group chat, you'll just get added right back in. And it sounds like Jax was one of the admins of or leaders of the, I don't know if you can be an admin of a group chat on an iPhone. The only person that's not in the boys chat that's a boy is Jason because he has an Android phone.
Yeah. Jason.
He's like, I've never been so glad to not
have
that. The thing about it is that how bad does Janet want him to get an iPhone?
Oh,
she's
God,
I want to read that shit.
Right. No,
Janet wants that. Janet needs to secretly get herself on the boys chat. That's what she wants.
Gross.
So Danny brings up the hot goss, which is Jesse said in the boys chat that he doesn't understand how Michelle is affording the house that she's staying in because she hasn't made commission as a real estate agent at their agency in the last 2 years. And she's spending the night with a billionaire for $1,500 a night. And that's how she's paying her bills. And then he tries to say that the reason he said that is because he has heard rumors, but also he really just wanted to smoke out the mole in the boys chat, which every girlfriend, every wife has the password of the phone.
Yeah.
Nia was like, we have facial recognition for both of us on his phone.
Right.
Which
absolutely not.
I have Matt's password.
Mm-hmm.
Matt has my password because, if your hands are busy, you're doing dishes, you're making food, you're cleaning up cat messes. Go, can you look at that on my phone? I don't want to have to repeat my password every single time. We know each other's passwords.
Yes. He absolutely is backtracking. Steve has an Android flip phone.
So there's no password to that.
No, you just open it.
You just open it.
Yeah. I mean, Peyton knows my password. I mean, we don't have secrets around here.
I think my kids know my password.
Yeah. No.
I think if I was in this boys group chat, I would probably be not sharing that because I don't want my kids to accidentally see it.
Yeah. No, Jesse is completely lying. He's trying to backtrack. I do not believe he absolutely was trying to find this mole. That's a complete lie.
No, he's just talking shit. He's just trying to be vindictive. One of the things that Sheena Shea says that was really smart. Can you believe I just said that? But she said, the second that's out there, whether it's true or not, even when it's debunked, now it exists in the universe.
Yeah.
And it's going to pop up when you click things about her. And she's going to have that linked to her, even though it's not true, for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things that we talked about last time. One day, his daughter is going to know that he said these things.
Yeah.
And defamed her mom.
Yeah.
And that doesn't do anything to make Michelle look bad. It makes him look bad. It's so short-sighted of him.
Yeah. And he would lose his mind if Michelle did that to him. If it was the other side of the table, if the tables were turned and Michelle said something disgusting about him, it wouldn't be okay. He would not be nonchalant. It would not be okay. He would be losing his mind. He would be running up and down the street with his hair on fire, saying how disgusting Michelle is and all of these terrible things, how she's trying to get back at him and how she's vile and he'd be trying to get the baby away from her. Right. Mm-hmm. But since he said it, it's completely fine. And he can make excuses. And now he's a victim and all of these stupid things. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Jesse sucks. Jesse sucks real hard.
Yeah.
So then, speaking of Jesse and Jason go get some iced coffees in the valley. Mm-hmm. And they start talking about Danny. Mm-hmm. Danny, sweetie boy Danny. And I don't know if I am just biased because I really like him and Nia, or I really want your perspective on this. The story is Danny had gotten blackout drunk. Danny doesn't get drunk very often, but when he does get drunk, he goes all the way. Like he goes too far. He got blackout drunk at Halloween. At one point, grabbed Jasmine's leg and said, "Get daddy a drink." And then when Jasmine went to go get daddy a drink, he grabbed or slapped her girlfriend Melissa's butt. And it was inappropriate with her. And the next day it came up. I think Brittany every time says, this happened, tells Nia, and goes, I would want to know if it was me. This is what happened.
Yeah.
And Jasmine's upset. Yeah. And then through the grapevine, it got misconstrued. And so Danny thought that he had grabbed Michelle's butt, not Melissa's butt. He called and apologized to Jesse for some reason, even though Michelle and Jesse are not together. Then also ended up having to apologize to Jasmine and Melissa and all of this. Did that change how you felt about Danny?
See, I went back and forth. It did. So my initial thought was like, oh my gosh, why are these people, why is this friend group constantly letting him do this? Why are they covering up for him? Why are they just giving him alcohol? Why are they just, it's just Danny. He just has too much to drink. We're just going to say he's sorry and he's just not going to do it again. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, I kind of said the same thing about Zach, right? Zach got too drunk and he said that horrible thing and it got misconstrued. It got back to Janet. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I said that about Zach. Maybe. So I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to be equal about the two guys, right? We know Zach goes out and gets hammered all the time, right? We know he does that. Mm-hmm. And we know he says shitty things all the time. Mm-hmm. But we also know that Danny doesn't go out and get drunk all the time. We know he goes out, right? But he doesn't go out on the regular. But when he goes out, I don't think he drinks a lot.
But when he does drink, he ends up getting thrown out of bars.
Right. And so I'm having a hard time with that.
It's hard to like put those things together because we don't see it.
Yeah. And so I'm having a hard time excusing it, but also, you know, I'm letting it go with Zach. So I don't know how to feel because I really like Danny, but also why is everybody just letting it go? And they're not letting it go with Zach. The friend group is not letting it go with Zach, but they are with Danny.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I'm having a hard time because I'm the opposite, in my opinion. So I don't know. My gut is, why are they doing that? That's not fair.
Oh, I think that there's a lot of different standards for different people.
Yes.
I'm going to say something really bad. I don't think it's a big deal. Do I think that women should be assaulted? Absolutely not. But I think they're all good friends. And if he was clearly blackout drunk, and it doesn't seem like he really meant anything by it. He was just, they said that he gets handsy. But like, I guess I'm excusing it because I also do that. Not that I'm like grabbing women's boobs and butts, but I slap a lot of asses. I'm a butt slapper when I'm drunk. I don't think, and it's like, if you're good friends, and it's like, that would be a funny thing to say. I'm probably going to start saying it to Matt, like, go get daddy a drink. And I think that's funny. And I think that like, if you're close friends, like it probably happens without it. Did it cross the line? I guess. And they had also said, this is the worst it's ever been. It was like that he touched your thigh and that he slapped a butt, but they said they're uncomfortable. So then you have to be respectful of that. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I think I'm kind of on Danny's side. Should he be getting blackout drunk? No. Should he be touching women? No. But is this big offensive cause a rift in the group thing? I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it should. He like called and apologized. The part that I'm stuck on is it sounds like it wasn't really Danny apologizing the way that it's supposed to. Nia apologized to Jasmine. Then there was the confusion where he apologized to Jesse for some reason. Jesse has nothing to do with Michelle. Don't apologize for touching Michelle. Talk to Michelle about, because Michelle doesn't belong to Jesse. And then also it was a text message apology down 2 weeks later to Jasmine and Melissa, which seems weird. And then they're also talking about, and they saw him at church and he was just like, didn't say anything to their face about that. That would be uncomfortable. He's saying, I said I was so sorry. And then at the white party was the first time I had seen them in a while. And I sat down and I apologized. And then the way that it was framed by Jasmine and Melissa was like, he brought it up and was like, how dare you? And he's like, I apologized again. And she's like, and he was, so those stories don't match at all. And I'm not really sure. What we saw from the show is him going, I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't have done that. It was not cool. It's not going to happen again. Good apology. Yeah. But also we don't know. They only show us what they show us. Yeah. And Jasmine and Melissa are giving us a different version of that. So I don't know. Yeah. I want to be on Danny's side, but I don't know yet.
And that's why it's hard, because the behavior keeps continuing. That's why I'm having a problem with it, is because it keeps continuing. That's my problem, is why are they allowing it to continue? Because it's him, and they don't allow it because it's Zach, like you said. I don't agree with that. That's just not fair. There's Jasmine that picks and chooses who she thinks the apology is okay, right? Like the apology from Zach is perfectly fine, but it's not from Danny. Like, I don't love that either. I mean, if you and I are going out all the time and you are the one doing that, grabbing boobs and asses all the time, and I am the one that's constantly having to pick you up and take you home and hold your hair back while you're vomiting because you're blackout drunk and you don't know what's going on, and I'm having to haul your ass out of these bars, I am going to be that person that's going to be like, I can't do this anymore. You and I cannot go out. If you want to do that, you're going to have to go out with someone else. That is the kind of person that I am.
Sure.
Because that behavior is going to start to annoy the shit out of me. And I love you enough to go, I can't do that anymore. Stop. And I don't understand why this friend group can't do that with him and say, drink a fucking Coke. Stop doing that.
Well, look at how far they let everything go. Look at Jax.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Do you think it's because Zach is one of the girls?
Because they don't like him. Yeah.
Harsher standards for the girls than they have for the boys. Because Jax had a Coke problem. Yeah. Tom Schwartz goes, you did blow like people casually drink.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that was an issue for years. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a problem for anybody until just now.
Yeah. Until he was forced to say it out loud. Yeah.
Right.
No, I completely agree. It just bothers me.
But then we move on a little bit. Brittany and Kristen and Luke and Zach are all meeting up at Brittany's new place because they're getting ready to go to Janet's party, which Zach is not invited to. So was he just babysitting?
I think so. It was very cute. Yeah.
Like, hey, thank you. We're going to go out without you. Kristen decided that she's going to go to Janet's birthday. And I think she was like, I didn't really want to go. And you're like, I don't think there's many places. We have watched Kristen since season one of Vanderpump Rules. I think there are few and far between any events that she would choose not to go. She would go to things that she wasn't really invited to.
Oh, yeah.
Sheena Shee's birthday.
Yeah.
Ariana's birthday?
Stassi. Yeah.
Stassi's birthday? Like, she would just show up.
Yeah.
She wasn't invited. Mm-hmm. And she's like, but my friend is here. Yeah. I'm like, that doesn't mean you can come. But she would. So I don't know why we're pretending like she wasn't going to go the second that she was invited.
Yeah, for sure. So this is where Luke spills the beans.
Yeah.
About what Danny told him about Jesse's comment around Michelle. Yeah. So. And yeah. I mean, Kristen is upset. She's like, I just became Team Jesse, and now I have to turn my card back in. Like, God damn it, you know?
I mean, Luke's earning his paycheck. Yeah. Is what that was. Because him telling Kristen means nothing. But what do we know now about Brittany? Yep. Brittany will say what happened to everyone. And she's like, I would want to know if it was me. And you're like, shut your mouth. Yep. Did Janet need to know what Zach said when he was wasted? No, but look at where we're at.
Yes.
Did Nia need to know that Danny had slapped Melissa on the butt? No, she could have been like, Danny, that's not cool. You need to deal with this. Yep. Instead, she was like, Nia, this is what happened.
Exactly. God damn it.
Let him deal with this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you can do if you don't tell her, I will.
Sure.
She is a pot stirrer. Mm-hmm. She really is. So she's just too pissed off. Mm-hmm. Why did she have to ruin everyone's night? At Dave and Buster's.
Exactly.
So everyone meets up at Dave and Buster's. Janet is very excited. Janet has a method at Dave and Buster's. Do you like Dave and Buster's?
I don't mind it, but I'm not a Dave and Buster's like crazy person she is.
You like a vintage arcade. You want an old school.
Oh yeah, that arcade we went to was so awesome. Yeah.
You want Pac-Man. You're not.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I would have fun at a Dave
You're not
Buster's.
Looking for the prize. You're looking for the experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Janet is in there looking for a prize. Yeah. She goes in. She decides her game plan of like, this is what I want to earn. This is what I order my prizes. Mm-hmm. Okay, I need to get X amount of tickets. There's my goal, and she's going. I do actually kind of respect that about her because she was involved in none of the drama. She's like, it's my birthday. Very Stassi. It's my birthday. And except for Stacey would go, it's my birthday, and then be knee deep in the drama.
Yeah.
Whereas Janet's like, not getting involved. I got coins to get. Whatever you need, find whatever. I've got a coin broom push game that I got to go play. So good for Janet in that. I respected that. She had a great birthday. She did not even notice. But of course, before anything even really starts, Brittany pulls Michelle aside and she's like, just so you know, Luke told me that Danny told him that in the boys' chat, Jesse said that you're sleeping with a billionaire for $1,500 a night. Michelle, of course, is obviously upset.
Yeah.
I've got to ask, has anyone given us an answer about how much a blowjob costs? How much does a night with Michelle cost? I don't know. Not with Michelle specifically, but like with an overnight.
I don't know. Was it in the after show that Schwartz was like $1,500 is low?
That's super low.
Right.
Plus, she's like smoking hot.
I mean, and even was it Pretty Woman in 1987? It was like $3,000 or something like that. $5,000
for the week,
right?
With inflation,
yeah.
And she was just like a regular hooker. She wasn't like a high class one.
Yeah, exactly. Hello.
Oh, I need to get some hard numbers on this. Oh, I shouldn't have used that word. I need.
Boo.
In-N-Out burger.
Ooh, there we go.
But obviously Michelle's upset.
I know.
Nia's trying to console her. They tell Nia about it, and they're like, get Danny over here. They call Danny over. Danny's like, what's going on? And you see what happened, and you just watch his face go like, oh, fuck. And he's like, I'm dead.
Yep.
Because they said, like, first rule of boys chat is what happens in boys chat stays in boys chat, which we know is bullshit.
Yeah.
Brittany was like, Jax used to show me all the time. And then he's, like, pissed at Luke. Luke comes over and he's like, hey, what's going on? I think I know what she's upset about. I did tell her. Luke, you douche. God, Luke. Not winning friends. Totally threw Danny under the bus. Danny's trying to throw Luke under the bus to Jesse. Here's what made me pissed off at Jason. I thought I loved Jason. And Jason goes down the completely wrong road, which is, the thing about libel and defamation is that if it's true and you put it out there, then you're fine.
And Jason.
Don't back Jesse up in this grossness.
Mm-hmm.
Jason saying that is pushing forward the idea that maybe Michelle really is doing this.
Yeah.
To which I say, if Michelle's really doing this, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, and if Michelle's really doing this, good for her. And I applaud you and keep doing it. And you're making a lot of money. Praise be.
Yeah. What I also really appreciated about this is Nia was like, you made this mess and now you have to deal with the consequences of it. To Danny.
Yeah.
And she's like, you guys need to get away. You guys need to go give some space. She was so mature, had her friends back, and she wasn't disrespectful or rude to her husband in the, like, you fucked up. She's like, you've made a real issue here. You really created something here that didn't need to be out there. But I think in the trickle-down economics of blame, obviously Jesse.
Yeah.
Then Danny, then Luke, then Brittany.
God damn. Yeah.
Janet's like, I saw Michelle crying, and that's the first time I've ever seen anyone crying in a Dave & Buster's.
And Janet.
Oh, Janet. And Janet's like, I got coins, bitch. I don't have time. And she just avoided it. Good girl. Proud of her for that. I'm pissed at Jason. And then Jesse tried to walk the whole thing back of saying that he was trying to find a mole in the group. And then in the after show, Jax is like, yeah, we got to find out who the mole is. It's like, you're all the mole.
Yep.
Yep.
And then Jesse said it was a joke. It wasn't real. It was a joke. But again, like I said before, he's trying to bait her. He's doing it on purpose. He's out there saying shitty things to her to rile her up. And
he won't say that he will back that up again. And then he'll say, well, I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so gross. They are not in each other's lives. I went over this before. People, if you think these two are in each other's lives, they are not. Mm-mm. This is not how co-parenting works. If you think that my gynecologist is in my life because I see her once a year, that's not it. She's not in my life because she looks between my legs once a year, people. That's what co-parenting is. You call him and say, I'm dropping her off or I'm taking her to Disneyland. That is not in your life, okay?
Right.
There's a huge difference there. If you're choosing to physically see this person and have them next to you, then you're in their life. But co-parenting is not having someone in your life. And people get that twisted all the time in divorce.
Yeah.
It's just not.
One of the things that I also was curious about, these couples, so we're looking at Brittany and Jax, and we're looking at Jesse and Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
They both had COVID babies,
Mm-hmm.
like during our lockdown babies. I don't know what's the politically correct. I'm just kidding. But they had babies during that time. And I think Jesse and Michelle had like a decent marriage, and then the baby happened and everything shifted because he was just such a not involved dad.
Yeah.
And she became very resentful of him. But then you also have Jax and Brittany, a mess to begin with, and just continued to be a mess. And then it just got worse and worse over time. You have Tom Schwartz in the after show chatting with them. And he was like, you guys are having this terrible time. And then you have me. When Tom and Katie got divorced, they got together, they signed the paperwork, they split their assets. It took like an hour and $1,000.
Right.
And Jax was like, yeah, yesterday I was on a phone call that cost $1,000.
Yeah.
He's like, and they're choosing to make this what it is.
Right.
It doesn't have to be, granted, there's children involved, so automatically that's going to make things tougher. But Jax and Jesse are actively doing whatever they can to make this as difficult as possible.
Yep.
Now, I did think it was fun that Michelle goes, you know what, I do want to go on this Santa Barbara trip that Jesse's planning after he just called her a hooker. She's like, I do want to go, but I think we all should vote. I think it's uncomfortable for me to have to be in the house with him, so I think he should have to stay in a hotel. He can still participate in the activities, but I think he should go stay in a hotel. Yep. And I want everyone to vote. And she starts going one by one. And Jesse's like, she didn't come talk to me. She did this. And I don't disagree with him. At face value, he's correct. Like, she should just have gone and been like, the fuck? Why are you doing this? Or, I'm not engaging. However, Lisa Vanderpump is a producer on the show, so you have to have a trip with the group for some reason that everyone goes on, as nonsensical as it is. She wants everyone to vote that Jesse should have to stay in a hotel. Some people vote for her, but overall it's like, Jesse booked the trip, he's paying for the house, and he's planning everything. I don't think that Jesse should stay in the hotel. That doesn't make sense. I think she should just not go on the trip. Right? It seems so basic.
It does seem so basic. However, he did call her a hooker. Come on.
If someone called me a hooker, I wouldn't go to the house unless I was contractually obligated. And then I would be like, I'm going to go on the trip and I'll do the activities, but production should pay for my hotel. I think that it was a fun little twist that she thought that there was maybe a chance she could get him out of the house that she was paying for.
She's just trying to make it harder for him, just like he's making it harder for her on purpose.
Yeah.
She's doing it on purpose, just like he's doing it on purpose for her. She's just trying to get him back just like he is. I mean, why can't she do that?
It's never going to stop is the sucky part of this.
Right. And it doesn't have to be.
I think she'll check out as soon as she's able to. Yeah. When she's able to when everything is in writing and they are fully divorced, she's going to check out.
Yeah.
But until then, she's steeped in this, plus it's the show.
Yeah.
One of the things that kind of bothered me, and I don't know what your feelings are, is she starts talking about in the interviews how she thinks that Brittany needs to be on her side, and Brittany is on her side. Mm-hmm. And she said that Jesse is even worse than Jack. One, I don't think that you should be comparing them, but I would like you to compare them and tell me which one you think is worse.
Having gone through a divorce and having gone through a husband that was similar to Jesse, I think Jesse is worse than Jax. I would agree with her because mind games are so much more terrible than a drug addiction because it's just never ending. Mm-hmm. And it's such mental torture that they make you feel crazy on purpose and your world collapses around you, where at least with a drug addiction, they can go away to rehab where mental torture, he's not going anywhere. And he's constantly right there in your face, torturing you. 24/7, and it's relentless and it doesn't stop. That is my experience and my opinion. Again, Jax is so narcissistic. He can go to rehab and literally be physically away and get his drug addiction and mental health figured out, where someone who is mentally torturing you and verbally abusing you won't do that.
Well, because I think with Jax, the veil has been lifted, so to speak, although we've known for years that he's terrible.
Yeah.
But he could at least play pretend that he's not awful. I think that his disguise isn't there as securely anymore, whereas Jesse can fake this a lot longer. Even with his bad behavior, he can almost intelligently explain why he made the decisions that he did.
Jesse doesn't have a mental disorder like bipolar like Jax does, where Jax might be able to get medication and come off semi-normal with some bipolar meds. I picked up on the after show where they would ask Jax a question. I don't think he's completely sober and or recovered, because he instantly blames Brittany again. And then he'll backtrack and try and say the right answer that people that he thinks people want to hear. Where Jesse, I don't think, has a bipolar mental disorder where he's intelligent like that, where he will mentally torture you. That is more dangerous than a Jax who has bipolar and a drug addiction. I don't know. And with Jesse, like with his girlfriend, anything that when he's out doing his promos or whatever, he's not going to want that interrupted, right? Just like he's not going to want to be bothered, want anything bad to come out about him. Where right now, that's not with the show, that's not going on. So he can just spew all this garbage about Michelle. Right. So I think he might calm down a little bit when it's about him. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But no, I think he's horrible. I think he's worse than Jack. That's my opinion. Jax.
Yeah. I would agree. I think both of them seem terrifying to me. A couple of the other things that came up in the after show that I thought were interesting. Michelle is saying that Jesse's also totally broke.
Yeah.
And that it's a lot about, like, he doesn't really have this money. He's representing himself.
Yeah.
So he can get her to have to pay more because he's working through her lawyer, but then he's not paying for a lawyer. And then also he is trying to get her to pay for half the wedding that they had. And she's like, I didn't want a wedding. He wanted a wedding. He was making more than me at that time. So he paid for the wedding that he wanted. And she's like, and I went along with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. That's not normal and weird.
Bad idea.
Yeah. And I think they will, her attorney, I think, will probably get through that and not make her pay for that, honestly. I think they'll get to a point where that weird stuff is going to probably go away. And she probably won't have to pay for it.
Also, it comes out that, like, Jax, and I think we'll get more information about it, and I know that it exists out there, I just haven't followed it closely enough. Jax, basically, he starts talking about his first try at rehab, which is what he's in right now, or the mental health facility. He's like, I was just going through the motions. Right off the bat, he's not really doing, which I know that it can take people several times, and that relapsing is part of the addiction process and that sort of thing, but it's one of those things, we talked about it last time, where he's invoking the name of his son and then going there and not actually doing anything because he was too busy being mad at whatever he was mad at Brittany about.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's not about Brittany right now. It's about you and you focusing on how you're going to handle things better.
Right.
He's like, yeah, but Brittany sent pictures of her boobs to Julian.
Right.
Also, he keeps talking about how he came out as an addict.
Like, he's supposed to get some award for that. I
think you come out as gay, right? Or you can come out as trans. And those things, you can go, you know what? I support you. But when you come out as an addict after you've caused this wave of destruction behind you, I don't think that you get the same party that he's asking for. And that for some reason people are giving him.
I think America for the last 12 years has known he's a coke addict watching Vanderpump Rules. Like, I don't know. What am I missing?
And they laugh about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing is the people around him go like, yeah, he had a real problem. And then he's like, yeah, you can look at those old clips of me. And they laugh about it like he didn't throw a fucking table at his wife.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah. They were also talking about Jesse spending thousands of dollars on a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
I'm not a wine person, but I did watch this video there's this woman who was voted, she won the award for being the best sommelier. What is it called? Sommelier?
Yeah, something like that.
There's an L. It's French. There's a different. I know how dumb I sound right now. But she was the best at knowing about wine in the whole world. And they were saying, well, what's the number of you think that if you're paying more money, it's going to be a better bottle of wine. And she was like, yes. And that number is about $300.
Well,
if you're going over $300, the wine isn't getting any better.
Wow.
If you want to really treat yourself and do something crazy then you get like a $300 bottle of wine.
Wow.
That's like that crazy expensive. After that, you're just showing your money.
That's stupid.
You're just waving money around.
Wow.
I couldn't imagine spending that much money on a bottle of wine.
Oh,
but I also don't like wine. Do you like wine?
I do. I like the sweeter, sparkling Riesling. It tastes like Sprite to me.
Ooh, yeah. I've had like an ice wine that I really liked. I like it. I like a sweet wine. I don't really like wine though because it always gets me feeling icky.
Yeah.
I like gin and I like tequila. That's my thing.
I don't know. I tend to believe Michelle when she says those things about him, that he's broke and he was just spending all that money to impress people. But she lived with him. Hello, people. He's just spewing disgusting lies about her right now so he can be a victim and people can feel sorry for him.
She does send little digs at him, but every little thing that she sends and pokes him with is true.
100%.
And it's not that deep. Nothing is horribly offensive or the next person that dates him would go, oh, I can't be with him now. Whereas he's saying like scorched earth shit.
Right. She said she wasn't allowed to wear makeup because he was wearing a white shirt or suit or coat. That's not the equivalent of being a hooker. So that's just a control freak and a red flag.
We're only on episode 3 and this season is so good.
Yeah.
I love this show. I'm very happy.
I mean, his whole face is a red flag. His demeanor is a red flag. Like, I don't know.
Matt pointed out to me who he looks like. And he looks like a young version of the guy that's in Mad Men. The silver fox guy.
Yeah.
He looks almost exactly like that guy.
Oh,
also,
true.
did you get the clip that I sent you?
Yes.
About where he came from?
With Anna Nicole Smith, yes.
He dated Anna Nicole Smith, and he was in Trim Spa commercials with her.
Yep.
And he looked good with long hair. Very 90s.
Yeah. Not surprised by any of that.
And I think he had a pierced belly button.
Gross.
And if it's not true, I still think that we should perpetuate that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're good. I'm going to have to cut out a bunch of that. Because in the background, it's just kittens and retired firemen in the background.
Beautiful.
And me not remembering words, but I think
Sommelier, is that it? Sommelier.
I'm keeping that. That's staying in.
Nice.
It doesn't affect my life. I don't drink wine.
No. And your dad will know. Speaking of your dad, this is the last episode he's going to listen to. So R.I.P., Mike. We have loved you listening, and we are so sad that you will no longer be with us. So
he's not dying. He's just not going to listen.
Goodbye. R.I.P.
I mean, I don't know if we have the ability to talk to about another show right now.
Mormon Wives are going to be starting. So
shit.
We could start talking about that.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. That's going to be good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope that you are excited to talk about the Valley with us again next week. Congratulations. We made it through season 2 of Last Resort.
Oh, my God. Yes. Thank God.
We all deserve a treat for that.
Oh, God. Yeah. A big In-N-Out burger. Oh, man.
And on that note, bye-bye.
Bye.